Mysteries and secrets can be very tantalizing, but there also comes a grave risk along with that. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here today to talk about a very cool, but also pretty dangerous magic card. This one is a lot of fun, so let's get it up on the screen and get right into it. We're looking at Allure of the Unknown. Now, this is a fairly unique feeling magic card overall. There's a lot of layers to this, and I enjoy it quite a bit. So, let's go over the card, and we'll break it all down. 1 red, 1 black, and 3 to cast Allure of the Unknown. This is a sorcery that allows you to reveal the top 6 cards of your library, but then an opponent exiles a non-land card from among them. Then you put the rest into your hand. That opponent may cast the exiled cards without, not exiled cards, exiled card, because there's only one. That opponent may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. And the flavor text says, the Light of Hope blinded, what's his name here? Pantor? All right, that name might be the only thing that's a little bit off about this card. Pantor, is that, hold on, I gotta lean in close with my old man eyes. Oh, good God, his name's Pantor. That name, I already looked at this card. Before I do the spoiler videos, I look at the card, give it some thought about what we're going to talk about, and I guess I just kind of glazed over his name, like glossed over. It's glossed, isn't it? Yeah. I glossed over his name, I guess, when I was going through all this, because otherwise I would have had a pants joke locked and loaded for this, because that is a ridiculous name. That sounds like a really lazy name for a villain who is just a giant pair of slacks or jeans. Pantor is ravaging the village! Anyhow, the flavor text says, the Light of Hope blinded Pantor to the ills of the world. Quickly, Pantor is blinded! Strike him down! Strike him down! All right, this card is absolutely fantastic from a flavor perspective. It is dangerous from a play perspective. I mean, when you look at it, yes, you are going to essentially get to draw 5 cards, although technically, in the strictest sense, you're not actually drawing the cards. So things that would diminish the amount of cards you're allowed to draw each turn, like I believe that's a Narset, right? Who limits you to only being able to draw 1 card a turn. Well, this gets around it because you're not actually drawing the cards, you're just putting them into your hand, which is funny because it feels like drawing, but it's really not. So basically how this spell is going to break down is you're going to reveal the top 6 cards of your deck, and your opponent's going to get to keep one of those to use right away, and the other 5 are yours. Now, your opponent doesn't have to use it. They're not automatically going to use it. If for some weird reason they actually choose a land, let's say you needed some Castle Embereth or something to get you to the damage level that you'd be required. Like, oh no, Castle Embereth's gonna ruin me. They could theoretically pick something like a Castle Embereth, so they're not always gonna cast the spell that they exile. You know, you could see it if this was like a 5-color deck or like a 3-color deck, something like that where you had wrath effects in it. You could see your opponent exiling a wrath effect because they didn't want it to happen, but not actually casting it. But the majority of the time, what you're gonna be looking at is your opponent playing the best spell off the top of your deck. And that is a frightening proposition, right? I mean, yes, you are going to get to put 5 cards into your hand, but they're going to get to pick the most advantageous spell amongst those and play it, if they so desire, for free. So this is definitely a power risk proposition. That makes perfect sense from a black-red sort of view. Black is willing to make sacrifices for power, so black would accept the negative consequences of its quest for power. And red is a very random sort of color when it comes to its card draw and deck manipulation. You don't have as much control over that sort of thing. So the chaotic nature of not knowing what the top 6 spells are and your opponent getting to choose one of those, that fits nicely into red. So this feels like it belongs in the 2-color combination right there. The idea behind the card, when we take a look at the artwork here, which is another amazing piece by Seb McKinnon. Good Lord, that man is extremely talented when it comes to artistry. I adore his artwork. So the concept of what's going on here is actually a really straightforward rendition, essentially, of Pandora's box. We can see little Pantor here. Oh my God, is he called Pantor because he doesn't have a shirt? No, get out of here. Is he called Pantor because he just wears pants? Oh my God, that's amazing. That's so ridiculous. That can't be the real reason, but oh my God, that's the reason for me now. They call me Pantor. I'm a shirtless little noodle boy. That's amazing. Okay, anyways, let's continue. Let's continue onwards. So you've got Pantor here. I can't say his name. You've got this young boy here, and in his hand, he's holding a pyxis is what these things are called. Interestingly enough, in the original myth of Pandora, it's actually supposed to be more of an urn than this style of box. This style, like pyxises, are actually really cool. They're from old Greek times, and a lot of them would just be used to kind of commemorate weddings. So you'd have all the people who were involved in a wedding kind of carved along the outside of one of these. And that's a cool idea. That's a nice little memento. So he's got a box of that style. Now he's opened it. The idea behind this is the Pandora box concept, where Pandora opens a box full of all sorts of ills, all sorts of awful things that befall the world. And all that remains inside the box is hope, just kind of shining up there. So this is a pretty direct version of it. When you look at the flavor text, it's the light of hope blinded Pantor to the ills of the world. So he's holding this little box and it's got hope in it. And I mean, that makes sense with the lure of the unknown. There's going to be a lot of hope when you use this card. It's like, oh God, I hope this comes up in a way where I get a bunch of advantage and ideal my opponent gets the minimal amount of advantage, right? So you have this box that is shining out hope into the darkness. And you can see all the darkness that is kind of coalesced on the one side. He is completely unaware of the darkness that is encroaching from in front of him, and behind him, it's even more, like there's two different kinds of intensity. The darkness that is behind, like in front of him, is more thick and complete and just all encompassing, whereas the darkness behind him are all these tendrils and claws. And if you actually look a little bit closer at the artwork, and this could totally be one of those cloud gazing moments where this artwork may just supposed to be a bunch of claws kind of rising up to reach out. But if you look, it looks kind of like the middle one is a snake, and if you look at the top one, it's got kind of like a drake-ish aspect to it, or a dragon aspect. Again, this could totally be one of those moments where you're looking at a cloud, and here's what I see, here's what I interpret. This isn't a scenario where I'm stating as a fact that's what's going on. But you have these little claws, these little snakes and dragons, all of these sort of demonic feeling. It's got a demonic feel to it, right? You've got the innocence of youth contrasted to the evils that are encroaching on him from all sides while he stares into this box in light, and it's full of hope. So are his hopes going to come true? Because when you look at this doesn't necessarily mean it ends badly for old Pantor here. What a stupid name. It doesn't automatically end badly for him, right? From this interpretation, you take a look at the art, this could just be something like, oh, all these claws reach out, but they're just harmless smoke and essence that evaporate when they touch little Pantor. That just sounds wrong. That sounds, his name is making this more difficult. But either way, what I'm trying to say is you don't know. Every time that you open this Pandora's box, every time you open this Pantora's, every time you open this Pantor box, you have the opportunity of hopefully actually pulling stuff out that's going to help you win, or having evil befall you, and in terms of your opponent getting to use your own magic against you. I really enjoy the flavor of this overall. The whole ills escaping out into the world, and in this situation though, it's not automatic. Like, it's not automatically Pandora's story, right? Pandora's story is not a good story, but Pantor's story could turn out to be a great one. I mean, from the artwork, the answer is most likely no. And where is he? Like, where is he located? Is he just outdoors somewhere out in the, because does this look like inside a home? I'm not sure by looking at the floor that he's on there. I can't 100% tell from the artwork, but I don't know where he's located. I mean, I suppose that's a really minor thing. Like, how did he come across this box? Did he stumble on it out in the wilds, and who would leave that out there? Is this something that one of his parents had? Did he steal this box from a shop? I mean, I don't think Pantor has the money for a box like this, right? Pantor can't even afford shirts. We gotta start a little Pantor GoFundMe. we gotta help. Actually, based on the art, I think it's too late to help him. I think it's too late to help him. But mechanically, this is an interesting card because normally you don't see like red-black card draw, which again, technically this isn't card draw, but it's close enough to lump it into the category. Like, yes, technically when it comes to game rules, you're not going to consider it card draw, but it's the equivalent of you getting to draw 5 cards while letting your opponent play the best spell out of the top 6 cards off your deck. It's an interesting proposition to make. I like randomness to a degree, but I don't like dicey situations, and Allure of the Unknown feels like a dicey situation. This is the kind of card that I could see myself putting into my cube, and then I would be terrified to play it. And I would probably only get played by other people. I try to include cards that appeal to other people's play styles as well, because there are some people who will just be like, you know what, whatever, take a spell. I'm going to be able to outmaneuver you with the other 5. Thinking about this from a standard standpoint, though, one of the biggest fears I think you would have in terms of casting one of these is, what if another one showed up in the top 6 cards of your deck, and then your opponent gets to play it as their spell? That just feels like, ooh, I don't know if I'd like that at all, but it could definitely lead to some crazy games. Overall, the flavor on this thing, 100% on point. The Pandora box concept is executed very directly and effectively here. Even if you are completely unaware of Greek mythology and the Pandora's box concept, you can easily understand what's going on here. And the contrast of all the dark elements to the innocence of youth, in just sitting there with that like hopeful glow in his face, it's absolutely amazing. I love Seb McKinnon's artwork. So let me know what you guys think. Are you the kind of risk taker who looks at this card and goes, yeah, sign me up? Or do you look at this and go, no. I would never, ever play this, maybe in a draft. How do you feel about this? Also, how does the art resonate with you? Do you feel the same way that I do when you look at it? Is it a home run for you as well? I'm guessing it's probably going to be yes for most people, because Seb McKinnon is a beast when it comes to Magic the Gathering art, and I imagine artwork for other games as well. So my friends, thank you all for coming by and hanging out. Big shout out to my patrons and channel members. And remember, together we are the 6th color of Magic.